Hey everyone, welcome back to E2EE. We're in the place where we ended the last episode where we got applied energistics started up. No terminal, but just basic storage, digital storage with all these drives. Got a bunch of space still, so that is really good. The thing I am working on today, I would say, is my last goal before like kind of getting into the call it the mid game or like really starting this pack. Obviously, it's an expert pack. It's even harder than a regular Enigmatica 2 expert, and so I really have to start automating things. I'm barely automating anything. Power's automated. The Batania stuff we did in the first episodes has some automations. Some things have like hoppers and chests and stuff like that, but it's not at all what I want. I think before, like, I guess infrastructure to successfully start automating everything is where I'm at. We've got pretty good power and we can expand it, and we will definitely have to probably really soon. But feel good about that. Feel good for now about where we're at with A2 and storage. I think the first thing we will automate is just all the A2 pieces. That way we can like expand this without doing any sort of manual crafting. So we'll automate cells and drives, as well as the automation pieces, the assemblers and the interfaces and things like that. It's a good first thing to automate. The one thing I want to do before getting into that, so maybe that'll be next episode. This episode, I want to focus on just a little bit of like basic resource generation. What I'm going to do for that is go with the Nihilo sieves. I've not used this mod pack. I don't really play Skyblock, so I've not used this mod really, and I want to try it. It's also a little bit uniquified in this pack, which is both good and bad. So I've started that project, and I'll show you what I've made. I made the Auto Sieves, which is nice. They just take power. I think they take a lot of power, but they will automate the sieving for us. These were not too bad. It took a little bit, but I think we had most of the stuff, just some crafting. The next piece of the puzzle I'm working on is I just want to go, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. So I want to get some diamond meshes. In this pack, you got to use the compact machines like style crafting to make the meshes and maybe some other stuff. Diamonds isn't a problem, but this elite catalyst is. This is what I'm kind of finishing up now. Really the hard part is this plutonium-242. Essentially, that's a byproduct of spent fuel from nuclear craft. So the other thing I've done is made a small nuclear reactor from nuclear craft. I've not really used this mod either, so it took a long time to kind of figure out how it works. But I got the quests are pretty helpful on it. This quest line here kind of has a lot of text showing you how it works, but it's a little bit confusing. And then I talked to some people in the Discord for the mod pack, and they helped me. So yeah, you get that depleted fuel from it. Obviously, you use normal fuel. You make this. Basically, it's just uranium with a little bit of processing, like regular immersive engineering or uranium. So that's easy. Processing, it's easy. All this is pretty cheap, I think. And then once it's done spending this fuel, and it basically makes steam, but I'm just throwing that out. This would make power too. But yeah, I'm just not worrying about that for now. And then we get the spent fuel, and then we put it in a fuel reprocessor, and that's where we get this plutonium-242, which is the thing we need for this elite catalyst, which again is like the thing you throw in to this to make the mesh. And we have to do this twice. I want 4 sieves, so I'm going to need 2 crafts of these. Everything else in this is not too bad. We made this. This was stupid, but it's you make this thing and then feed it 1,000 stone and then grind it, and it's like only use ever is this. So I don't know why that's the recipe, but whatever. Then living wood's easy, silicone's easy, sawdust is easy. Emerald gears we have. The last thing I have to do is syngas, which I actually need a second to figure out that, but then we'll have this piece, and then we can do these enchants. I don't know if I have enough levels for that, and then I can get into the next piece, which I will, probably the last thing I'll say in this little section, but I can just show you. So if we look actually at the uses of sieves, or meshes rather, these are the resources you get. So different inputs, which is why I want 4, but I'll explain that, kind of my plan for the setup later. But let's say you get the iron ore piece. In this pack, what you do is you burn several iron ore pieces in seared stone. So we make seared stone pretty easy. We place it in the world, which are like the fluid placers for. Then we have to throw iron ore pieces into that, and then it gets converted into an iron ore block, and then you mine that up, and then you process it as normal. So you kind of have that extra chain here. You don't just like craft it into iron or iron ore. So it's a little bit fun and different of an automation, but a little bit more work. All right, here is what we did so far. So we needed seared stone, of course, because you got to throw the ore pieces into that. I decided to go with the smeltery. It just seemed like the cheapest and actually quickest thing. There is two other options, Magma Crucible or Melter. I think we'd probably switch to those once we can afford lots of upgrades or machines and power for those upgrades, but currently I don't think I can. We also have this free Pahohi lava from the Blaze Reed setup over there, and that's kind of a quicker than lava fuel, and I made this pretty deep down so we can smelt a lot at a time, because I think we're going to need a good amount of seared stone. So we got 400 buckets in there, and yeah, this is cobblestone generator. I think this is a good way to go for now. Then we got fluid placers, pretty easy. They'll place fluid here. We'll have to like block them off. We'll probably change this design. I'm just kind of throwing stuff in the world at this point. And then precision droppers shooting up, so they'll put the ore pieces in the seared stone. These have a nice feature for this that you can set the item count. We need 3. 3 ore pieces is guaranteed 100% turn into an ore. If you do less than that, it's like if you do 1 at a time, it could be 1 as an ore, it could be 7. It's a little harder to automate and less compact, but you can also, if you min-max it, get more resources out of it. I don't know. I like compactness, and I'm thinking once we get this all set up, we'll have a lot of stuff, but maybe we'll have to reevaluate. And then I also finished up the crafting, so we got the auto sieves, finished up the meshes, fully enchanted them. Luckily, they only have like 3 enchants they can get. It's these 2 and luck at the sea or something for fishing. So I put all those on. We had stored up levels from like a book and other storage before. Auto breakers are just going to sit right here and face the ore and break it, and then we'll send it into processing. So we'll have to add on processing to this too, which I'm actually just kind of now realizing. And then a bit of redstone to tell this stuff when to work. It's easy. I tested it in my creative world, which I've been doing a lot for this series. It's helpful. The next step, of course, is something I kind of neglected a little bit, is actually the resources you're going to sieve. I picked out these 8 to start, so netherrack, I guess I won't read them, but these 8, some of them are just going to vein mine and drop off in a chest or something over here and then get crushed, and then later down the line we'll automate. Some of them are easy to automate, so we need some igneous extruders, some of this augment and material stonework factories, and pulverizers to do the crushing. I just need like, I don't know if I need one for everything. I'm probably not at that stage, but I need like a couple so it's decently fast. Honestly, when I went to like think about crafting this stuff, I put it in the calculator here, but this is just for 1. So if you want to do like 3 or something, anyway, it's not that bad. It's just crafting currently in my base is kind of killing me. I'm running from here A2 to machines to other machines to smelting and all this stuff. And yeah, it's just demotivating to want to like craft stuff and progress through this pack to get to automation. So what I realized is actually like travel anchors are perfect and they're actually super cheap. So I'm going to make a whole bunch of these and install them in all those areas I just mentioned, and then we'll be able to zip between all them, and that's going to be like one of the best life changes we could make. And it's going to make crafting so much easier. So I'm going to work on that craft of a couple of those. Okay, so iron's easy. Conduit binder we're actually super lucky on. We have a ton of this. It's a byproduct from literally just this. This has been such a multi-purpose thing that we kind of got randomly. IC2 crops is actually very worth. But yeah, we have tons of this. Otherwise it's painful to make, I think. And I think we just compost it and wait. So sweet. That part's easy. What's next? Well, I'm super happy these are so cheap. I did not expect that. I thought we'd have to get fully into Ender IO. Even the staff is more expensive. The last thing is pulsating crystal, which is pulsating iron. We can make it in the induction smelter, which I haven't made. I think I might make it. We could also do arc furnace. But I think it'd be good to have an induction smelter, and we can save our graphite rods. So I'll make an induction smelter. Well, nice, I got them done. It was easy as I thought it would be, and it's also as good as I think. You just look at the stuff and then jump, and you can get anywhere, wherever you want. So if I'm over here crafting, and then I gotta go here to use a machine, and then back home, and then go to a machine in here. You know how it is, it's very nice. The audio broke because I let my computer go to sleep when I was crafting the stuff, so I just kind of montaged it. Alright, so the first thing I'm making, it looks like 2 igneous extruders with 2 of these augments for making the sands. So these are pretty cheap, so I'm just going to grab all this stuff and craft it. I keep running there and forgetting to use these. I'm going to build a new habit. I need more of those blue things that go in these guys, the device frames. Okay, not that recipe though. This recipe, flux wire coil into redstone conductance coil, seems a lot better than the alternative, which is 160 redstone and electrum ingot. Gotta take a quick mining break out of copper, which I need for actually the chemical thrower, which I need to make concrete, I think. I don't know why I came here necessarily, but yeah. I guess I kind of have a policy, I don't know, because I really want to have a nice mine near my house, but I also always have this, like, don't shit where you eat policy. I'm trying not to, like, take the resources or mess up the environment directly near my base. But I have no problem shitting in the Twilight Forest. So let's do that. This has that mod, I think regular E2E had it too, that you can't creative fly in the Twilight Forest. I don't know if there's I don't know if there's even copper here. I haven't found any of it. Maybe this is not the place to mine. Mining and modded is so fun. There's so many things in vein miner, it's just so quick. I have a secret project we're gonna do with mining. I'll explain at some point. This has that mod, I think regular E2E had it too, that you can't creative fly in the Twilight Forest. I don't know if there's I don't know if there's even copper here. I haven't found any of it. Maybe this is not the place to mine. Mining and modded is so fun. There's so many things in vein miner, it's just so quick. I have a secret project we're gonna do with mining. I'll explain at some point. Alright, I think my conclusion is there's no copper in the Twilight Forest. It's most common at Y28, which is like where we are-ish. I dug this big straight line and hadn't seen any copper. Curious if there's literally none, or it's just like incredibly rare. But irregardless, let's go mine in the overworld. Alright, we're gonna do it. We're gonna cave in our home cave. And yeah, we will try and make it cool eventually. Alright, that was interesting caving. Made good progress. We got the igneous extruders, the augments, material stonework factories. Remember, we're gonna just vein mine for now. Netherrack and endstone, and skystone is weird. You can only crush it with these hammers or sag mill, which I don't have yet. So that one we'll just do manually, like super manually too. And then I just need, I think, 2 pulverizers for the netherrack and the endstone. So I'm just gonna craft a couple of those, might make like 3 just to have an extra one. Always useful. I do need more machine frames from thermal. I'm down to my last one, so I'll probably batch craft a decent amount of these just because, of course, it's annoying. And then I'll craft the rest of the pulverizers, and then I probably forgot something, but if I didn't, we will be ready to actually start putting this whole thing together. the last thing I need for the machine frame is to get osmium, which you get down here at Bedrock. I'm having some trouble with all the lava taking up a bunch of this, like all the space and making mining difficult. I found the Bedrock miner as well. It's like moderately useful because it just depends on the vein size. Like on this one, it was probably not worth it because I could have mined that. Ooh. We ended up with this much osmium. It's a good amount. Of course, we can double it and everything. Wow, perfect. Really want to automate this, but it's input and output of the same base essentially, so you have to filter it in some way. And it'd be annoying to filter for every potential thing you could smelt. So I want to filter it for categories, so like allow dusts, allow out ingots, allow uncooked food, allow out cooked food. I think integrated dynamics could do it, and maybe under IO filters. I'll look into it, I suppose, but also maybe it's not worth it at this point. I do like this though. You know, it's big, amounts, cheap, faster with better fuels. I've kind of just been timing and bottling it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, cat take care of it. No. Good attempt. Thank you. Hey, nice. As the sun is setting on us on the 632nd day, we are done preparing this and ready to almost get started. Just a quick layout, we got the stonework factory that's making dust and maybe something else, igneous extruder making the sands, and pulverizer we're going to manually pump in just in like a drawer or something, netherrack and endstone. We'll feed all that into the sieves, we'll have a line of them in and out, and then we'll take the ore pieces, shoot them up in the liquid thing that we talked about at the beginning, and then that gives you raw ore, so we would have to add on to this ore processing as well. The thing I want to do before I get started is get into item conduits. It's, like obviously the best item transfer thing, aside from maybe A2. But it's a little bit expensive here. Vibrant alloy essentially needs this enhanced ender ingot, which is this crafting, and the really annoying, not annoying, but the hard part about it is nether stars. So I'm just gonna batch craft this. I think I have a thing to kill the wither in the end, like under the end portal, so I'll use that if that's true. And yeah, we'll craft that up, try and get like a stack of item conduits, and then maybe we'll actually be ready. It's nice when things work out. I got this trophy, and if you right click it, it often gives you a wither skull head, so I've been doing that a bunch, and I probably have a bunch of skulls. Not a bunch, but yeah. This was the end portal thing. You do this obsidian shape, it's 2 blocks high between, and just put this whole stand in the heads, and then when he spawns, he gets stuck in the bedrock. Then you just slice him. I was wondering why it gets wrecked so much, but I think it's because of the sassy modifier, or trait, because I only have 8.4 damage. And now farming ender pearls while he spawns. It's not so bad. Very good. Might want to improve this. What are these called? Ender alternators. Expensive. No. I might need to get platinum. Maybe we just time to bottle it. The induction smelter has this recipe for platinum using cinnabar, which we had. It's 100% guaranteed to give you in iridium, and then you also get 3 platinum for, and we need iridium for something. It's like suggested you replicate it. I don't even know if we have a full ingot, so that worked out when we had that cinnabar. Yeah, definitely worth just timing and bottling it. Because the ingots are kind of expensive and we need them for this. So I'd rather use them for that than for the crafting of them. You get 4 per, so it's good. And everything has UU matter, so it'd be another great thing to replicate. I invested 58 nuggets into vibrant alloy ingots. That's a ton. That's great. And this is really cheap. Wow, that's a lot more than expected. That's awesome. Make at least a stack of these. And then let's make at least a stack of these. Let's make 2. Oh, that's awesome. Cool, welcome back. I'm saying that to me, not you. I've been getting obsessed with testing something in creative for like the past 3 days, and I think I finally am happy enough with it to actually start doing it in survival. It's going to be a whole rabbit hole side project, but it's going to be cool. And I'll show you the creative at the end of the video. I changed up the orientation here a little bit. I think this is kind of more of a final form. Nothing really that... Oh, I switched to XNet too, because the sieves are super duper power hungry. They take 50,000 RF a tick each, so 200 total, which is definitely not okay. I just broke it here because it's like overflowing. But XNet lets you, configure the amount of power you want to do. Yeah, so that ability to configure power is key for this setup for where we're at because these sieves take so much. What I'm doing is on the power cell that we're extracting power from, I have a limit here of 20,000 RF per tick. I'm also using priority, so the machines are on priority 1, 1, and the sieves are on priority 0. So the power is going to always go first to the machines, make sure they're full and running, and then the sieves get what's left. And then I also have them limited each to 5,000, so no one sieve is taking all the rest. The result of this is that they run, but they run quite slow. And so yeah, we'll speed it up when we get more power. It's sieve or sieve? I don't know. I put cool YouTubers skins in here. I like that. Yeah, so that's the speed. I also just rearranged this. I think you can kind of see how we can make a building out of this, like a top layer, some sort of structure here, and then goes down. Okay, and then goes down more. But yeah, I'm going to change everything with our grand plan, and not everything, but the stuff kind of here, the grand plan, which we're going to implement, I guess, now. Okay, grand plan, what is it? All right, I'll just show you, but so it's going to be like many hours for me to get the stuff. All right, I'm going to stop procrastinating, but just so we're all clear on what exists currently, and then I'll do the thing. Up here, this is the make the stuff layer. So he makes dust, these guys make the sands, this we vein mine and put it in manually, and it crushes it. Next net is logistics and power. This is kind of the just everything can hang out here until it gets sieved or sieved. This is everything that's the output, and then we'll sort this in various places using XNet. It'll be nice. Here's an output. I think we'll ore process this, right? You'll want to smelt it into black quartz. This stuff just goes straight up into our system. This stuff I think it would be good to put in a drawer because you get a lot of it, but it is a tiny bit useful. These are our ore dust, which is our grand plan, and this is trash. Okay. And this is our thing that's making seared stone that we got to beef the hunks up. Run to the end to get more ender pearls. Got 300 from that, which was unexpected, but good. Doing all this to make Enderium. Cool, got a bunch of Enderium. By the way, I found a nice recipe. Instead of doing the Enderium base and then using it with the more ender to make Enderium ingot in the smeltery alloy, you can do this top recipe, Nuclear Craft Molten Lead Platinum. Essentially, it's 3-to-1 lead platinum plus 1 ender pearl melted previously. And then you get ingot of Enderium, I think, something like that. But it's way cheaper and easier than all the other recipes. That's how I got so much. Now I'm making the compact machine blocks and making the maximum compact machines. Hey, did it on the first try. There we go, I ended up being able to make 5, and then the quest gives you an extra 1. I think that'll be pretty handy to have 6 maximum compact machines just available. I'm a big fan of them. I want to use one for the mob farm. We're going to use one here. I don't know what to use the rest for. Maybe one as an emergency Thaumcraft area. Alright, making energy cell frames. Not happy about spending my machine frames, but also not feeling like crafting more. I do feel like I have to get into UU matter, but I should stay focused. Yeah, I need these to turn them into the next cell frame to put it into the next cell frame to then we're making controllers. I'm gonna try and batch craft a couple because I'll kick myself if I don't. But again, I'm kind of over the crafting. I'm okay with it, but we'll get through it. I like this. I repurposed the top of... why did I do it? Oh, just because of an obsidian. I repurposed the top of this old crusher thing, which I guess I'm just keeping for historical. I don't know, maybe the power goes out. But I repurposed it, and then this is the small plate crusher. I did that for steel rods because otherwise the recipe is basically 1 ingot to 2 rods. But if you do this, a steel sheet metal is essentially 4 ingots, and then you get 32 rods for 4 ingots. So it's much better. Empowering the frame. It's very slow, I think, because I'm using these hardened cables, which only do 8,000. Split between them 4. I'm imagining this takes, I don't know, can I see how much power it takes? Yeah, 10 million. Okay, there's your reason. This stuff's all smart, at least, or it only allows 1 item, and it won't pull it until it's done, so I can just slap another hopper here and forget about it. I'm using these, apparently they're less laggy, or apparently hoppers, well not apparently, hoppers are really laggy. But they're a tiny bit cheaper too, because they take a cabinet instead of a chest. A cabinet's just wood instead of like treated wood and other stuff. The next simple machine chassis. I decided I'm just going to turn all these into controllers. Cool, that was the gate for Ender IO, and we get a free one as well. I think I might need a machine to make the next thing, so maybe not all of them. Cool, I am getting massively distracted. In order to make something or other, I needed these Ender IO machines up here. But in order to make these, you need this organic green dye, which is only made in those machines, or the alchemy table, but then you need these clippings and trimmings, which are only made in sag mills. And I don't want to make the simple ones because they're just useless, except for these first few things, and then you upgrade right away, and you can't like upcraft them, and then you waste the simple machine chassis, which we just spent a lot of time and effort and a billion machine frames inside of them making. So then I tried to get this other way, which is this mirror mix thing, trading, but I killed all the mirror mix, so I chunk loaded the queen who I didn't kill, and I'm hoping that she will reproduce and then I can increase my reputation with them and trade again. So I'm letting that happen, and now I'm collecting my other shopping items. So that may send me down here getting storage buses, but then I was like, I want the quest accounts. Then I looked at the quest and I have to do this crafting CPU. For the interface, I think I already made that, but then the storage bus, I guess that will count. But then for this, I was like, oh, the better way to make these things is through this fluid aggregation machine, and this takes plastic, so now you're caught up. Now I'm trying to make HDPE. We're actually in a good spot for HDPE because it mainly takes ethylene, which we already have from our power setup, as well as substrate, which we, again is a byproduct of that. And then the electrolytic separator here, we're using the hydrogen, but we're not even using the oxygen. So it's just a matter of fitting in the 2 machines. We need to rotary condensatrate gas ethylene and turn it into liquid ethylene. And then we throw that... Can I rotate you? Alright, I'm gonna have to finagle with the sidedness of mechanism, but I'll bring you back when I get it. Hopefully we can just fit it in these 2 spots, that'd be cute. So I got it in here, but it's not going to be permanent. Of course, we got to remove our gas line here, which is powering our power. The rotary condensator is super-sided, like it doesn't even have the config option, so it seems like you really just have to be at the mercy of which sides it wants. But I filled them all up, so I didn't want to like break them and move them, so I'm just going to take it all out. And then we'll get a bunch of HDPE here, probably enough for what we need. But if we want, we could like put it up or put it somewhere else. Well, it's a tight fit. We actually got it, I think, fully automated. Maybe we just clean up that a little bit, but pull in substrate from here, pumping it into the bottom, auto pushing it out here, power, gas ethylene, putting out the liquid ethylene. This is getting the oxygen right from the electrolytic separator right next to it, and yeah. Alright, that worked out. It's kind of a nice system with the Draconic placing the blocks for the augments, because it takes up a lot of space, but was that the wrong thing? Where do you go? Redstone furnace. think I'm trying to do this, yeah. I'm very low on black quartz, this is all I have, but I need it for the carbonic fluix compote, which I need for these machines I've been trying to get. Oh, cool. We'll see if that's enough. I get it from sieving gravel, so we could just manually run it in our system because we have infinite gravel from Botania over there. Our queen is not reproducing. There's a good chance that a player has to be nearby, not just chunk-loaded. Okay, we got this. I forget what I wanted it for, though. I just came over here, and we need more of the black quartz, so I just came over here and manually threw in a stack of gravel in each. I'm trying to clean this up a bit. Oh wow, we got a stack of that already. Okay, that was worth it. There's also this better recipe for the carbonic fluix complex in the machine we had just made, so it's just basically one of each instead of two of each. Right, I had these chests with a bunch of the black quartz already in it. Nice, well we got the CPUs, got the quest, made the storage bus, and the interface we made went into the storage bus, but yeah, all the quests counted, so that's good. I don't always necessarily need to do all the quests in order, but it's nice to, and this is something we'll use anyway, so why not? Plus, you know, we made that useful machine, and we kind of now have the capabilities to make this a little bit easier when we need to make more of them. Yeah, so I want to save the controller here for last in our little shopping list, just to see if our queen will reproduce, and then we can try and do the trading thing and save on the machine frame or whatever it's called for the sag. If not, we'll just burn it and be upset about it. But honestly, in the time I spent this morning just looking for other stuff and figuring out how that works, I could have made a whole set of more machine frames. So it's more just me being salty. I guess we'll make some annihilation planes. We need a good amount of these for our plan. And then kind of the rest of the stuff we made before, so I just have to craft a decent quantity of it. I just found out that I'm dumb, and so you can make the simple machines, and then you can uncraft them into the machine chassis, so screw the mirror mixes. Checked on our queen again, and no change in terms of population or children. So, yeah. There's a way to make the queen egg, and you can make your own colony. Maybe we'll do that. I'm a little bit interested in the mechanic, and I think some of the trades are actually useful. Nice, so I made the sag mill that let us get the clippings and trimmings, and then I did skip the needing the alloy furnace with the alchemy table. You just put these three things in there and then get some organic green dye, and I think I have the rest of the stuff. So then we can be able to skip right to these two, and once I get those, I'll turn this back into the machine frame. Forgot to reconnect my water supply here, so all this stuff is offline. Alright, this is filling back up and working, and these guys should be slowly filling back up as well. Yep, cool. And then I just disconnected this for the moment, just to let these guys all refill. We don't really need more than 830 HDPE at the moment, but I'll try to remember at some point to plug that back in. It's always like, you know, when you have AE2 as your storage system, it's a good idea to maybe keep a spare charged battery or something outside of the system, because if the power goes out, I can't access any of my items, and then it's kind of a situation to get the items you need to turn the power back on. It's happened before. Probably to you too. I decided to take my own advice here, so I filled up a energy cube 12 million RF and put a sign on it to remember. So yeah, if the power ever does go out, we can grab this, throw it on the energy acceptor, and we should have enough time to grab the items we need to fix the reason the power went out. We'll see if it's ever useful. I bet it will be. Got the 2 Ender IO machines. It wasn't too bad, and it's nice to have them. I also had loot capacitors, so I didn't have to make more, and they seem good. They also seem really fast, but I haven't used the machines that much. I just wants to do the making the better recipe of making the frame chassis. The only interesting thing with the recipes really were these gears. There's a cheaper recipe, so if you want to use this, it's 4 ingots, but if you go with Tinkers, you have to make the Infinity Bimetal gear, which is iron and 1 grain of infinity, so very cheap. And then 4 gems, which ended up being 8 nuggets. So 8 nuggets equals 1 gear, or you can do 4 ingots, so quite a bit better deal. And the other thing was the capacitor. The doubles are really easy. The singles, this bottom stuff is easy, but titanium iridium alloy, just a bit expensive. I remember getting titanium from over there in the excavator, and iridium we got as the byproduct from platinum. So it's a little bit expensive. Lucky that what we're working on again is the sieves. So one of the byproducts for endstone, or both of the byproducts from endstone and a diamond mesh, is iridium and titanium. So yeah, we can basically automate this once we finish our project, which we now get to start. I was going to say I forgot why we were doing Ender IO, but it was we needed those industrial machine chassis for the controllers. So let's turn the rest into this. I guess I have to make a little bit more dye. And then Skystone's easy. We've made all this before, so everything else should not sneak up on us. It's a shooting star over here. This has happened a couple times. It actually gives you good loot. So we'll go and see what happens. Nothing crazy, I guess. I don't know what Warp Theory 1.12 mod is, or if I should eat this. Probably not. And then the astral thing, it gives you research on maybe a constellation, or I guess collector crystal cannibalism and reach. I'd be down to be a cannibal, but I don't know who I'd eat. Villagers, I guess. I don't know if I'm the same race as them. Well, I guess I'm not really race with cannibalism. There's more species. Yeah, but I don't know how Minecraft works in that regard. The Ender IO quests give you rare loot crates, and I haven't really got much of those, so maybe there'll actually be some good stuff. This one was decoration, but that's actually... Is this the one? Okay, well you only get one, so it's not that useful. But these are kind of useful because it just generates on its own. Spectral coils in general would be good to get into, actually. It's wireless power, that's pretty decent. Alright, what about for the rare ones? I'll take it. Dude! Oh, it's a Wither Skeleton. I thought it was Wither. But still self-aware. And actually Wither Skeleton, that's great. It's gonna be a good deal before we get into deep mob learning. But yeah, I'll definitely take that. I've never played with this mod, I've always wanted to. Hell yeah. Self-aware, that's awesome. So the alloy smelters are crazy quick. Luckily there's cool fluid transponder recipes with XP, doesn't even matter which type, and some sort of item. Most of them are cheap, but then you get the thermal powders. So it's a lot better than what we were doing before. We just need compressed crushed skystone, and then we can make the controllers, and I was all excited to use our new sag mill, but there are recipes for anything modded or bugged in it. So I guess we got to smash it with a hammer. Basically because there's the hammer, which you're supposed to use the Tinker's Sledgehammer, which like I don't really know what it's for aside from this, but then there's this compression hammer, which is like a modifier. I don't even know if it goes on the hammer, and I don't know if they hammer into different things, or you think this one does like compressed stuff, so maybe that's it. I don't really know. Oh, that was pretty cool. Nice. For controllers, we're going to use one for our project. We got 3 left over. I would have liked... Oh wait, I can make a little bit more. What is lacking? Okay, I'm going to make all the machine chassis into it. I think we only have one more. Yeah, okay, I think one more. Okay, so we actually have everything yet again. I know we kind of did we kind of did this, and then I went and changed the whole plan. We now have all the new things. Except it would be good to make some ender chests, which I definitely need ender chests, and it would be good to make an ender tank. That way it can fill, because we're going to do it in a compact machine, so it'd be nice to be able to fill this without having to go into the compact machine. I'm going to take a break from crafting stuff, the ender chests, so let me explain. It's easier here to show you the mechanic of what we're going to set up. Okay, so we talked about all this, basically normal ex nihilo, make stuff, sieve it, get stuff. In like Enigmatica 2 Expert normal mode, right, you get the ore pieces, I think you craft them or you smelt them and it's done and you can process them, you get the ore. Here you have to burn several ore pieces in seared stone. That just means what it says, so you throw the ore piece in liquid seared stone and it'll turn into the ore. The little bit of a trick that we're going to take advantage of is that if you throw one piece at a time, it has a random chance of converting. So these have all converted in one. That one took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so that took 13. Let's took 1, 2, 3. The other option is to throw 3 at a time. So if we throw 3 at a time, it's guaranteed to make an ore piece. Ore piece, ore piece, 3 at a time, ore piece. So you have 2 options. You can gamble. It could be 1, it could be 13. You can throw 3 at a time and get a guarantee, but then you're always spending 3 when you could spend less. The little trick I found, this person on the Discord for this pack, their username is Caustic, explained that if ore pieces basically, or seared stone fluid has a range, it's basically a 3x3 square, so 1, 2, 3 up, and then 3 out. So if you have this big cube of seared stone, if you throw one piece in, it can convert any of them. So I threw it in here, but it converted that. I throw it in here, it converts that. I throw it in here, didn't convert. And basically these all have odds, right? Like we saw. So it's 1, it's 13. So they all kind of roll an odd of you throw an ore piece in, will it convert, will it not? But if they're touching, I threw it in here, it's rolling all of the ones it's touching odds. So your overall odds are much better. You can imagine we had this big 3 by 3 by 3 cube that's 27 pieces of seared stone. Basically 100% chance that if it doesn't do this one, it's going to do this one. If it doesn't, it's going to basically 100% convert into seared stone. So what that means is you can turn 1-to-1 ore pieces into the ores. So just more efficient. I wasn't going to do it because I was like, I don't really care. This is free, but then it was like kind of a lot of work to set all this up. And I was like, okay, well, I might as well get everything I can out of it. And this was actually really fun. That's why I spent 3 days in creative mode testing it. It was fun to set up different ways of placing fluids in a 3 by 3 and then being able to throw and really quickly break ores. So that's what I made. We're going to make it in the compact machine, and then I'll show you that. But I thought it'd be good to explain the mechanic while we can clearly see it. I'll probably explain it again in the machine. Cleaning up because we're going to move the smeltery in the compact machine too. Smelteries are kind of laggy, so to have one constantly running, I'd rather put it in the compact machine. But I want to try these hole fillers since we have a hole to fill. My goodness, how far is it going to go? Huh. Okay, that worked way better than I was expecting. Oh. Maybe not. File, hole filler, mod block, ring name. Huh. Oh, now's dirt. Wow, that's pretty cool. A little laggy, but hopefully that's okay. Yeah. Alright, this is the first step done, just recreating the smeltery. But I added the ender tanks, that way we can remotely fill this. And I'm compressing the cobblestone, which was a really good idea I got from that guy in the Discord to smelt this stuff faster. Hopefully this is quick enough. We'll find out. Crawling is so useful. For me it's Z, but you can obviously toggle it to whatever you want. It's from like the aquatic mod, but yeah, it's really nice for cabling. In modern packs, they have that like shrink mod that I like a lot, but yeah, at least we have this. You can probably tell where we're going at this point from our earlier demonstrations. So these are annihilation planes. They break blocks in their block space, so where my face is and where my feet are. And then these are fluid placers. They do what they say. And this whole thing will be filled with seared stone. And then you just throw a dropper up in the ceiling here, right in the center. A precise dropper from Cyclic is perfect. It lets you control the speed and the amount it drops. We want to drop 1 because we're going for efficiency, and the speed is good because we don't want it to go too slow where it's slow, and we don't want it to go too fast where it like breaks or something. At least in creative, 8 ticks was good, but we'll see how it goes here. Hopefully well. And then it's nice you can put a trapdoor down here so I can access the thing. So we will have seared stone source blocks every single block here except for the center. We're going to drop right in the center and it's going to land right here. There is a trick with this as well, is that so it needs a source block, so any of these blocks on the sides, to convert into an ore. But if it's a flowing block, it can kind of trigger it. So all these source blocks will still kind of flow and fill where I'm standing with liquid, but it won't be source block. So it can get dropped here, trigger any of these. These all have things to get broken, and they all have fluid placers to replace them. So that's perfect. And then since the center here is not a source block, I don't have to worry about breaking it because it'll never convert here into ore and then mess the whole thing up. And you just have to be careful that you drop the ore in the center, because then it's going to trigger in those directions. Basically from here it can go 1 out, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 up, 1 down. You could max this out by going 3 levels high, so it can be again 3 by 3 by 3, but of course it's a little bit harder with a 3 by 3 by 3 to place something in the center, and then you'd have to worry about mining it. So you could put a miner under here. I'll save all those complexities, I guess, for the epilogue in the creative world if you really care about the particularities. But I went for this. Also, it's a good price, for survival. Need less fluid, need less stuff. need less channels and all this. And it was over 99% chance of one ore piece converting, so I'm good with that. Did forget that we need power. We're using the power cells for wireless power, so luckily we had an extra of the simple ones, so we can make one more. This has got me quite far, the initial craft of these. I've been using them pretty sparingly though. But yeah, wireless power is key for me. Because the way I like to play modded Minecraft is I don't want to just have one big facility. I like to spread out, just because it's more interesting to build different buildings and kind of have a sprawling complex rather than a big interconnected thing. But it is not super interesting to run giant cables. I'm worried about what we're going to do when we get to AE though. Do we have a big cable network or do we look into the wireless? I know it really increases the power cost and I imagine it's expensive, so could be kind of cool to have this big rat tunnel network of cables, but I don't know. And I think we're ready to give it a test. Let me just do a little check. So everything's got fluids. The lever's on. Fluids look good. You're set at 8 ticks with 1, and you'll just go when we feed you items. So we don't have that set up in terms of like ender chest pumping that in. We also don't have ore processing, so that's going to take a bit of a while. I think these are all good. We can check that all the devices for these are online, which they should be good. Up top. Yep, and this should be 16 channels. I guess you're getting a channel directly from here, but that's online too. Yeah, so these are annihilation planes. They'll mine the blocks in all the block spaces where they can spawn, like we talked about, and then it's going to send it to here. And we'll have one of these back in the surface because we want to do ore processing there, because we also want to be able to use the ore processing without having to go to a compact machine. Okay, so if we put in these things, we should get close to this exact amount of ore out. So we should get a stack of copper, a stack of gold, and 46 titanium. We can also kind of hear and look and see if it's working right. Okay, so we need a demagnetizer, but that sounds right. Yeah, so that's kind of how it looks. They're getting placed, or they're getting thrown rather. They auto-convert in any one of these 16 source blocks, and then any one of the 16 annihilation planes eats it and ends up here. Okay, so my magnet took 4 of these, and we had 60 of these, so that worked. We'll get a demagnetizer. All right, I'll cut to when it's all done. Okay, I got a demagnetizer, but more excitingly, the results. So I threw the final 4 copper in there, so we got 64 copper, 64 gold, and 46 rutile. And everything seemed to be looking good in there with all the fluids, and everything is full here. So yeah, it definitely worked in that little test. It worked pretty good in extensive testing and creative, but it can be a little bit different. And I'm not sure how the compact machine will affect it. It's kind of a shame because we could have built somewhat of, I mean, it's not that pretty, but it could have been cool to build like a setup around it. But I think, you know, placing fluids, breaking blocks in them, smeltery, all this stuff is like, everything here is laggy. So I think, and if we're going to run it kind of constantly at the end of the day when we have the sieve process working, it's probably a really good idea to put it here. All right, well, we're pretty good in here. It seems to work. We'll have to stress test it a bunch more, but that's kind of the next step. So I got an ender chest slapped up here. This is the one that the output of the sieves will feed into. So all the ore pieces, and I got to figure out if I have to chunk load this or not, probably, but I'll start off with not. Curious how much power it uses. I don't think that much. But yeah, other than that, we used everything we came in here with, and then we spent a lot of time crafting, so that worked out. And yeah, we'll finish up the outside stuff now. Hey, well, welcome back. Kind of saying that to me because I took like a month-ish long break from Minecraft, just playing other games and doing other things in life, but I've been back and I've been busy too. Actually, before the break as well. I wanted to do the whole YouTuber thing where you like do the big reveal and like I did it all, you know, finish the project. But then now I'm down a different rabbit hole, you know, as is typical of this pack. So I kind of have to bring you in for that. But I figured I'd do a mid-progress update where we're at now. So yeah, I was also facing that way because I wanted to do a kind of reveal of the build here. I think it's actually pretty cool. Definitely a little repetitive with the palette, super kind of earthy brownish red, but I mean that looks good in the jungle. I like the colors and the blocks. I'm always struggling with block palette, right? Like you don't want to be too crazy with it because then it's just like incohesive and not good, but if you're too similar then it's also sort of boring and repetitive. This is a okay balance. It definitely could be better, but you know, it works and it looks nice. The definitely just like copy pasted on the 2 sides, but also repetition doesn't look bad necessarily. We've got some unique features here. I actually like this sort of alleyway thing. This looks kind of cool. It's almost like a gutter, like an irrigation system. Not that it is. And then it's sort of built into the terrain, which is something I always try to do. I try to not like level terrain as much as I can and just build into it and around it. And this creates some interest and some asymmetry and also sort of another entry point into a different area, so that makes sense. And we got some block variation, which is good. Definitely kind of the lazy style, but not bad. Yeah, and I think it, kind of fits with the rest of the block palette. Something I'm struggling, not struggling with, but like thinking about. It's like all these things sort of want to talk together and work together, but also be their own things. That way it's interesting and not just the same blocks everywhere. So yeah, at least that's what I'm going for now. And yeah, I think I talked about it before, but I'm trying to do like separate buildings for different things instead of just all one like mega base. I find that a lot more interesting and gives the world a lot more, you have reasons to go places and do things. Um, yeah, and maybe it's a little bit empty in here, but I don't know if we'll fill it up with other stuff. I have a few more plans and things we have to do to fully finish this project, so I probably get a little bit more full, but I mean, yeah, and it looks actually pretty good from here. And I kind of been talking about this for a while, but the last thing is just like this height difference is a good way to make it more interesting, right? If this was all just one level, it would be boring and all kind of the same thing because it goes lower, higher, higher, stilts, kind of different facade thing here. It's interesting enough. I think I'll show you the functional thing at the end. That's sort of what I'm trying to finish up, really just the ore processing now, but I went into creative and tested different ways of processing ores in terms of like cheapness and speed, because we're gonna have a lot and I'm cheap. So I found out pulverizers with these augments and stuff, which I'll show that again, so we don't have to get into it now. But essentially I want to make at least the signalum conversion kit, and this is the rabbit hole I ended up on. For this I need elite plating, which needs all this stuff is fine, but crystal binder needs calcium sulfate, and it's a whole nuclear craft and mechanism chemical rabbit hole. It's actually really easy, but I just have to craft some stuff, and so I'm going to work on that, and I figure I should show it instead of skipping even more. But I have to figure out what I have to do next. Alright, so I don't know what we're doing, but we're on the rabbit hole for the calcium sulfate, which needs a bunch of nuclear craft machines. I had to go find oil shale, which I found, and then I decided to make this augment, which makes you get more stuff, because we're going to need that anyway for our ore processing. And then I slapped it, and that's not what I want. I think I'd save you a minute of me rambling about it needing the sand oil shale, not the gravel one. So I guess I gotta go find that. There is also, which I probably should just do, is liquefactor coal, which I can make in a fractioning still, which I have, and then just get the tar that way. But I don't know. I already committed to the shale. I don't know. You'll know in the next clip. Definitely playing this pack, not wrong. There's probably no wrong. But everything is always super expensive just because I really haven't automated anything. I keep waiting to like automate until I get. This is like the last thing until I automate. Like if I finish this ore thing, then I have lots of basically infinite resources, enough resources, and then I can not have to worry about that and always go mining, and then I can like dive into E2. But it's like this thing that I was making for the augment that I made, just none of this is expensive. It's gold and silver and tree resin and black quartz, but it's just like putting it all together, and then 2 of these, and then you get only 1 of these, and this is 8 ingots, and so it feels expensive, but it's really just like because I haven't automated anything. That rant was just inspired because I ran out of copper for a super cheap recipe. Not that, the reservoir, which I want for the liquefactor coal. We're going to do that. Liquefactor coal in the fractioning still with the augment to make a little bit of extra byproduct. It was probably not doing anything because I don't think this is secondary. Is it? It says 50%. Yeah, okay. Nice. And I need that for the chemical reactor, which is the nuclear craft rabbit hole that we're on. And then I have to get plutonium, which I have to upgrade our reactor for, which I actually have to figure out. Give us some naphtha too. And yeah, my system is just storing a bunch of reservoirs of different stuff. I don't know if it's a good system or a bad system. Yeah, I should have just done liquefactor coal from the start. 3 stacks of coal gave us almost 2.5 stacks of tar and a bunch of naphtha. Alright, like I said, I don't really know what I'm doing. Unfortunately, before my break, I did the previous reactor, and I kind of understood it, but now I forget it. So I just tried to extend it a bit, so I added another graphite here, which is the... what's it called? The criticality factor thing. So they each have a unit of criticality amount. This one has like 44 flux factor. Each one is 44, so 44, 88. But I need for this guy 102, so I thought if I add 3, I'm above 88, and then it's good. And then I added another cooler because I think it needs it. That's all not even, which I don't like, but I guess we'll see if it works. I think this number's different, so that's a good sign, and it's formed as a reactor, and I basically just extended it and added the new graphite. The fuel that I have to do like kills me, so I gotta be quick. Let's see. That's the input, it took it, it made steam, that's a good sign. Okay, cool, it's working. So we will die, but hopefully we'll get the... Alright, well that worked, took a minute. We got the depleted fuel, and it doesn't kill us, which is nice. We put in 3 and we got 2 back, so I don't know if another one will come, or you just can't do odd numbers, or if it just... that's how it works. But I want to see how much plutonium we get out of this. I think we just reprocess it here. And this is probably going to kill us as well. Alright, so we got 2. Not bad, because we need maybe a couple chemical reactors would be a little bit better, although we can do it all with one if we want. Alright, I did the thing. I'm going to try and speedrun explaining it. I regret setting it up in here. It's way too spaghetti-y. I thought it'd be fun, and we kind of can use existing infrastructure like the melter and the oxygen, which is true. But now I just have... it's very chaotic in here. It doesn't super matter, because we're going to redo all this anyway at some point anyway. So in that instance, I guess it's okay. Okay, we just basically made a bunch of chemical reactors and they're in a line. So this guy takes molten sulfur from the melter plus liquid oxygen, which we were using for a power gen setup from the electrolytic separator. And oxygen was the byproduct there anyway, but we have to rotary concentrate it into liquid oxygen. This mixes with that, and it makes something. I guess I can't see it. It makes one of these, sulfur dioxide probably, and then I mix that with more oxygen. Yeah, that makes sense. And it becomes sulfur trioxide because it's got more oxygen in it. Then that feeds into the next one. I'm mixing it with water and sulfur trioxide. That probably makes sulfuric acid. And then I'm pushing that into another chemical reactor, which has fluorite water and sulfuric acid. And that is kind of the end product. So it's making this hydrofluoric acid, which we don't want. I have to avoid that or something, but it also is making the crystallizer going into here and making the calcium sulfate, which is what we did all this for. And then the fluid enricher takes water plus fluorite and makes the other piece here the fluorite water or something or other. And then it ends up here and we get this. And I get the fluorite, crushed fluorite from the here, the rock crusher. We just rock crushed diorite and it's easy. It's this thing. Yeah, that was good. This was being really slow for a minute. I thought it was the oxygen, but it was actually the rotary condensator. I just had to put speed upgrades in it. And now we're basically fully buffered on oxygen and everything's moving pretty fast. And we got 24, 25, that's the pace. It's still semi-manual here. I'm manually melting sulfur, and I don't know how I'm making it yet. And then diorite, same thing. But both those are probably pretty easy to make, and we also don't need a ton of this at this stage. And like I said, we're going to make a better setup for this at some point, but it gets us what we need, so I think that's a good stage. Nice, so our whole rabbit hole here was for crystal binder, which we can make some magnesium. Very good, a bit more elite plating. Should be a quest. Another signalum upgrade kit, another conversion kit. Okay, we got it. So now we have 2 of these. We're going to make 1 super redstone furnace, 1 super pulverizer with good speed upgrades and good augments. And that'll be our ore processing so we can get back, oh wow, to this project. I don't know if I made it all in advance planning it, or I just happened to have it all, but I had basically everything except a redstone furnace, which we had all the stuff to make. So big time-consuming rabbit hole, and then everything just works out all in a minute. So, you know, that's how it kind of goes sometimes. So you got to push through the rabbit holes. I think it's a good natural point for me to go make dinner, but then we'll come back and we'll do this, which will be fun now that we have it all ready to go, and we just got to put it into place. I think we're almost actually done. I set up some of the final ore processing. Essentially, the ore pieces will go into the machine in the compact machine, get turned into actual ores, which is just some extras here that we're going to test with. End up here, get processed in different ways depending on what they are and filtered and then sent to different places, either AE or the drawers down there. So I just want to throw a bunch in and see if all the filters and stuff are correct. Nope. I'd take 2 at this, so I did, and just I put the like match metadata filter on the inserts for the redstone furnace and the pulverizer. Essentially the difference between these is that the redstone furnace has the double the inputs augment, so for stuff that we don't care about the byproduct and that'll accept in here, we do that. My goal is just speed, honestly, like we're producing a lot of stuff. I'm more than happy with just doubling. I just want to be able to keep up and process it quickly. So yeah, doubling's fine. If there's something specific we want to more than process that, we can store it separately, kind of like I'm doing with rutile, although that's different because that needs special processing. And then some of them, these up here, I kind of like their byproducts, so I went for a pulverizer with a little bit of extra augments, and then I have to take this part I want to smelt and put it in here, and then smelt it, and then send it back, and then do something with the byproduct depending on what it is, usually just send it back as well. Okay, so let's add a whole bunch more random stuff and see if it goes to the right place. Can do a quick update on the compact machine room. One change I added is a drawer for sponges on a stick. I'm not automating it or anything, but just nice to have them, so if the fluids break I can fix it easily. I added some redstone controls, so if the chest is full, comparator signal is red and then sends over here to a redstone signal, and then we invert it. So this is saying, hey, if you have a redstone signal you can drop stuff, but if you don't have a redstone signal you can't, and that's why we invert it. It also lets me turn it on and off with this lever, so that's nice, and that's just good idea because if it fills up, it'll keep dropping ores and waste them and then break the fluid, which isn't a big deal, but it's like I'd rather not break the machine. And it's cool to have redstone controls and a good idea. The other change is that the mod updated, there's like this fluid logging mod, which backports fluid logging, and I guess it changes fluid dynamics, and so it changed that you can no longer just drop, we didn't have this fence gate in there before, and so I need it because we need an air block. Before you could just drop fluid straight into the seared stone and it would convert. Now if you do that, it just doesn't do anything. So I add this fence gate and now there's an air block and it can all still work. I think it makes our efficiency like 1 block less because it's 1 less block to roll the odds and convert. So maybe it's like 95, 97% instead of like 98, 99, but I don't care. And then I had to change the speed a little bit. I don't know exactly what it's determined on. I think it sort of has stuff to do with like TPS or something, because it's different in my creative world than here, but it's 14 works for me in terms of the fluids not breaking, because you don't want these to become non-source blocks, because for some reason seared stone won't overwrite a flowing block in its block space, so it'll just stay flowing forever, and then since it's not a source block, it won't count for converting into an ore. So we want to have that speed. Yeah, so we can just turn it on here. It's going to start dropping ores again and converting them, converting them into ores, and then the annihilation planes pick them up, put them in here, and then that goes over back to the overworld where we're processing it like we were just doing. I just set up the magma crucible. It's insanely fast. Look at this. It's actually awesome. I love having infinite lava. Yeah, so we're just I don't know which one we're getting this from Netherrack, but yeah, so we're just melting it. I think this augment is doing a lot of the work here. Greatly increases lava production speed and then extra speed, and then yeah, this already filled up. That's crazy. And then we'll pop an ender chest on top of here as well. That way we can have access to lava wherever we need. And I did a void upgrade just so at least we'll keep the chest blank, although I guess we're kind of wasting energy then. How much energy does it use? Oh, 1,002. Was it 12,000? Okay, we might not want to do that because then we're constantly burning 12k RF. Yeah, we definitely don't want to do that. That's insane, it's so fast. I do like that though. Alright, so this broke again. I'm not entirely sure why. I've tried a lot to fix this. It just doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. These place almost instant. They have basically not infinite, but like this is always full in terms of seared stone. I just can slow this down. Maybe it's the going between dimensions, or maybe I should chunk load this place. I'm not sure if compact machines kind of chunk load on their own. It does seem to work, but maybe it's worth chunk loading it. I guess I'll try that. Just thought I'd show the fixing it when it's broken procedure, so now that we can easily turn it off, we can turn it off. Go down here, grab a sponge, come up here, you just want to be close to it, and then right click. Oh, okay, so I messed up. You also want to turn off the fluid. Oh, does that work? Oh, that worked too, actually. Okay. but it's probably safer to turn off the fluid inputs because that's also redstone here. And here, you know, these are getting redstone. These need redstone, and so this is controlling the redstone on the Ender conduit. But you can just check if you fly around inside of it, if it's all level and looks like source blocks, or you can look inside the center of it. So it's nice to have this block at the bottom to see. But yeah, if it's all level, it means it's going to reset. You can get out of here. You don't have to close this because it's going to stop the fluid anyway, but you can. And then turn the fluid back on. Let's chunk load it. Okay, and then turn the machine back on. Now we're dropping again. And yes, we'll just give it a while and see if it doesn't break. If not, slow it down more. If not that, I don't know. I've done all the testing, cleared the buffers. We're about ready to actually turn it on and see if we can leave it on and have it be working. One reason among many, XNet is awesome for this, despite being a good amount of work and really messy the way I did it, and kind of worrying me for if I ever have to add things or change things in the future, is this count filter. It basically means this is the input chest, so the materials that we are sieving, and I have it at 64, so one stack of each material. That way this chest doesn't fill up with all whatever's quickest, and then we're just sieving the one material that's the quickest. Like this is fully buffered, so we would just kind of be sieving only those. And then I even have the ability on the sieves themselves to say only allow 2 in the inventory at a time. So that basically means one goes in and another one gets put in, but it doesn't fully fill up that internal buffer, and again gets stuck with only a certain amount of resources. And then this guy will extract a random one. So basically we always have a stack of these, all the materials, it picks a random one, and these have no internal buffer essentially, so it can switch between them, and we sieve all of them evenly. The other way to do this, if you don't want to do that, is just have one sieve for each material, but that's more expensive because if you remember, these were expensive to craft and the meshes were expensive in enchanting them, and I don't need that many resources, so this was a good way. So all we have to do, I think, is turn this channel on. This will start extracting, these will start getting to remove some of them and keep this full. These are going to sieve, but they're only going to sieve one block, and then another one comes in, and another comes in, and then all the outputs. This was empty, so it all ended up here. And then if we did it right, every one of these should be filtered and should go somewhere, and we should, you know, process all of them, and they all end up in the place we want to. As you can see, this is filling up incredibly fast, and if you remember, these are like a tenth, well, they're currently at their full power, because they have the filled up buffer, but we're doing like 10, 12, I don't know the exact number, RF each, not 50,000, so this is like a fifth, an eighth of its max speed once this buffer ends up. I do see a few things in here I probably forgot about, so we will catch those as we get it, but yeah, I'm just going to let it run for a bit and watch it and see if we did okay or not. And yes, this speed is bad now, but once these buffers end up, it'll slow down a little bit, and hopefully we can keep up. Cool. Almost all the buffers are empty. Yeah, let's see what's broken. I was worried this buffer wouldn't keep up, or the extraction speed of this wouldn't keep up, because it's on the max, it's an advanced connector, so it's at 5 ticks instead of 10 on the normal one, but I changed it to random mode instead of first slot, where I was always grabbing the first one and then not really removing them, and now we're keeping up, so we can kind of just see if we forgot anything. Turning it back on, actually we didn't do so bad. The one thing I forgot was crushed skystone. Again, that's a manual creation along with these two, although it's even harder to get because there's no dimension where you can mine infinite amount of it easily. We are sag milling it, and there are ways to make it, so we can get to it later. I'm putting these in this chest, and this is a good idea because I don't know exactly why I made this setup. I wanted to have this empty drawer for in case we wanted to add another resource, then we can just not have to have one pulverizer dedicated to one resource. But then with the way I'm doing it, I don't want these to buffer in the machines, because the machines won't work for the other resource, and I also don't want them to go into this chest because it's limited to 1 per stack, because of what we just talked about. So all these extract here, they wait here, and then they get extracted from here 1 stack per into here, so I can just add the skystone that I'm manually making in the sag mill over there. And then the resource from that was the rock crystal essence. You can't manually or automatically mine it with like a miner and annihilation plane. I tested it, none of them, it just voids it. So I'm just manually storing it in the drawer wall, and we can do something ourselves with it as we need it. Other than that, everything else seemed to have a place, which is good. And again, this is going to be too fast while these buffers are full, but once that gets done, we can watch this chest, and if it stays empty, then that's good. I'm almost certain this part is too slow, and again, we can't really fix that, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, it's actually working better than expected, although as it should, because we've been working hard on this. By the way, you can remove facades. I guess I just insta-mined it or kept holding it, or it bugged out, but probably my fault. Yeah, you just mine this and then you mine the cable if you want. So that's nice. Yeah, everything's working. I'm noticing we cannot keep up on power, so that's a problem, although a solvable one, but for another day. But all the stuff is ending up in the right places, and this is moderately keeping up. I think we have actually filtered everything, and this is working. Yeah, it's just that this is too slow. Let's go take a look at here and see if our fluid's broken. I hope not. Yeah, that's fine. It's just this fluid looks good. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so just too slow. Huh, I don't know what to do about that. If I make it faster, it breaks. I'd have to remake this whole machine. It requires a lot. I spent a lot of time testing it already, so I don't necessarily want to more in it already. It's kind of quirky. Just waiting for the sun to set so I can do some lighting in here, and I cleaned up all the holes, so basically done. This wall's kind of ugly. I'd like to improve it, but not right now. I wanted to just point out the way I'm doing power here is I was originally trying to insert a specific amount. I think that was not working, so what I ended up doing was extracting power here and then just limiting it with pipes. I feel like the mechanism pipe connects better with XNet compared to a flux duct. I'm not sure if that's just visual, because I guess this is connecting. We could test it, but yeah, this worked. And then I have a Elite one there into a Signalum one there. This is a limit of 32,000, and flux ducts automatically evenly round robin energy. So 32 divided by 4 is 8 RF, 8,000 RF per tick into each of these. Again, they want 50 RF per tick, so we're super limiting it, which is good because we don't even have enough power for this. I was going to try to fix it, but I was like, let's just improve the power. So we'll leave it for that. We'll just have to turn it on and off for now, which is fine. I don't need a bajillion resources. I just like that I have a way to get them. And then pretty soon we can improve the power and then leave this on. Although we still definitely have the speed problem that I don't know. So if you know how to solve that, let me know. I think it's a pretty esoteric problem and like specific to this mod pack with the seared stone mechanic. So yeah, and because of the fluid placing thing especially, it's like I don't know how to get around that. Anyway, the only other thing is I was thinking we can deprecate these two guys, you know, I'm not using them anyway, but this was rutile and aluminum. We're making both those, and we have silver and whatever else it is over here. It's kind of hidden there. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll delete them or just leave them, but we probably don't need them anymore. There we go. Give it a minute. I feel like it's easier to do lighting at night. Alright, there we go. I've had so many mobs come in here and attack me while I've been setting this up, so that's good. Good thing I have the creep or whatever, because there's been tons of those. That's been omega clutch. Yeah, it's definitely kind of the throw a bunch of lights style. Probably could improve it later, but I'll see how I feel about it, and same thing with some of the other finer details here, but I think we live with it for a little, and we actually do have... Oh my god, so quick, I just turned it on for this section. We do have this mostly working, except for the unsolvable problem over here. Yeah, I think I'll wrap it up there. It's been a super long episode. Took like over a month to make as well. Probably expect that for the next one if you are expecting these, but thank you if you are. Otherwise, yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know whatever you think, or if you have ideas or solutions, especially for you probably don't. All right, see ya. Hey, just a tiny little epilogue here, because I think I said I would show the... Oh, that's not going to work. I just wanted to show the creative world where I tested different machines and designs for the ore pieces in seared stone. You have like a basic 1x1 here, really simple, but doesn't give you any extra rolls. This was something from a guy on Discord, but I don't understand it. Or this one. And then I started messing with my own, which is basically squares with fluid placers and putting the ore in it. And then I did a lot of stuff with this controlled miner using a pick, which you can make and put any pick you want in. And if you use the global traveler, it'll deposit stuff it mines into a chest, so that way it doesn't have to like touch it or send them in the world. And obviously they get burned, but this is really slow, which I didn't like. And then I don't know what this one is. And then these are kind of similar versions of what we were doing what we have existing, but with different ways of mining it and controlling it with redstone and trying different ways to throw the ore in so you can maximize the amount of ore pieces, and more redstone control, kind of the stuff we ended up with. And then all the way over here is basically what we have in our survival. And then I don't know what I did, but I like broke this platform with this weird sound. Like I don't know what it's from, or there's nothing here. So then I decided to abandon this island, and now I'm going over here. I changed up the color scheme too, not that it matters to you, and I used full blocks instead of slabs, which is a good idea. Oh, and I set up these little command blocks to make it always day and never rain, which is nice. I've never done like a creative world that I keep. I always just like make new ones every update, but yeah, I like keeping them because you get to see it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, bye again.